You are watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am Marshall Green, and today we're going to talk about the latest news coming out of New York Giants training camp following the first week of practice. The biggest news, Shane Lemieux and his injury. Thursday, he was carted off with an apparent knee injury that really just had New York Giants fans and media members up in arms. Nobody knew how serious it was, and everybody was extremely concerned. He was getting the starting bulk of reps at left guard. This guy, Shane Lemieux, was slated to be the starting left guard, and being carted off with a severe knee injury was absolutely devastating for every New York Giants fan to hear. Lemieux, he received an encouraging update on his health from New York Giants staff, and Joe Judge, he spoke to the media about where Lemieux stood with his health injury update. And before I get to that full quote that Joe Judge gave, I want to ask you guys this question and get you involved early on in the show. How worried are you about Lemieux's injury? Scale it on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being, I'm not really all that worried. I think he's going to come back. Joe Judge said some good things about him. I think he'll be ready for week 1. Or scale it on a scale of 1 to 10, using a 10 if you are extremely worried that Lemieux may even miss part of the regular season. Go down in the comments and let me know what you think. Joe Judge, he said this to the media when asked about Shane Lemieux. The worst case scenario looks to have been avoided. We're happy about that. In terms of trying to come out here and make a diagnosis on Shane, we'll have to wait and see. The one thing about Shane, he's like a wild animal. He'd chew his leg off to get through a bear trap if he had to. Him not being out there is driving him nuts. He's already been in my office talking about how fast can he get back. Plain and simple, the New York Giants need Shane Lemieux to be healthy. This guy is supposed to be the starting left guard for this Giants offensive line that has been ranked by Pro Football Focus as the worst unit in the NFL. Lemieux, he's a road grader for Saquon Barkley that's going to be able to pave the way for a guy like Barkley to bounce back and have a huge year. And in a surprising update, Kenny Wiggins was the guy that stepped in at left guard when Lemieux went down that got the reps with the first team. A lot of people thought it may be Zach Fulton, but Lemieux, when he stepped out, Kenny Wiggins stepped in and provided reps at that starting left guard spot. More subscribers equals more videos. What does that mean? If you want to watch more videos on the latest New York Giants training camp news and rumors coming out before the preseason starts in the coming weeks, I need you guys to subscribe and click that big red button. The link is right here, youtube.com/NYGiantsTV. I want to talk more about New York Giants football leading up to the season, and to do so, I need you guys to go and subscribe. So subscribe to New York Giants Now by Chat Sports today so we can talk more New York Giants heading up into the 2021 NFL season. Jordan Raanan, he had this tweet about Daniel Jones and about the Giants offense struggling so far in training camp, and it just hasn't really looked all that good for Daniel Jones, and he said this: not the best practice for Giants offense on Friday. Daniel Jones threw an interception in the red zone to Logan Ryan, intended target, of course, Evan Ingram. How many times did we see that last year when he was targeting Evan Ingram? The ball ended up in the defense's hand, whether it was an overthrow or a tip ball that bounced off of Ingram's hands. He later said, lots of underneath passes just have looked a bit out of sync. Defense has gotten better of matchup early in camp. Maybe not surprised. I'm not worried about Daniel Jones yet. I'm not going to overreact to the first week of training camp where he's had some bad 11-on-11 series. He's struggled in one-on-ones, and he's struggled to get in tune with his new leading receiver like Kenny Golladay. But I am encouraged that him and Kenny Golladay have stayed after practice every single day this week to get in sync. This is a connection that's going to take some time for Jones and Golladay to get into sync. Golladay is a receiver that doesn't create the most separation in the world. He's a big target with a huge catch radius that Daniel Jones needs to learn to trust. He's a guy that's open even when he's covered. Just throw him the ball. He's had one of the best contested catch rates in the NFL for the past couple of the years, and it's going to take Jones and Golladay some time to get in sync, and seeing them after practice get together and throw routes on air has to be extremely encouraging for Giants fans. NJ.com and Zach Rosenblatt, he put out an article highlighting the Giants' key takeaways from the first week of training camp, and he touched on Daniel Jones, and he said this: On one hand, that can be viewed as a negative that Jones is struggling to get in tune with his weapons. On the other, it can be viewed this way. The Giants have looked great on defense, especially in the secondary, and nothing is going to come easy for the offense in training camp. And I couldn't agree more with Zach. This Giants secondary is really, really good. They have two lockdown corners. James Bradbury and Kenny Golladay, they've been going at it in one-on-ones. And Adoree Jackson has been a guy that's just surprised and played really, really well so far in Giants training camp. So it's going to be tough for this Giants offense to get into rhythm when they have a whole bunch of new weapons that Daniel Jones is trying to get used to. Kenny Golladay, he's going up against a great corner in James Bradbury, and it's going to take time for him and Daniel Jones to get into a rhythm. I mean, plain and simple, the defense should win early on in training camp and practice. It's a lot easier to play defense when you're playing with a bunch of guys that you don't know. Daniel Jones is playing with guys that he's never played with before. He doesn't have any chemistry built up. And when you're in a defense with a bunch of veterans like Logan Ryan, Jabril Peppers, James Bradbury, and Adoree Jackson, you just go out there, you strap up, you put that receiver in a seatbelt, and you just play ball, and you follow him, and you shadow him all across the field. And that's what the New York Giants secondary has done so far. So I'm not worried so far about the Giants' offensive struggles, but I want to hear what you guys have to say about Daniel Jones. Do you believe in him? Are you concerned about how he struggled so far in Giants training camp? Go down in the comments, let me know. If you believe in Jones, type Y. And what that means is I want you guys to, if you do think that you believe in him and he can be the Giants starter for starting quarterback and franchise quarterback for the coming years, go down and type Y. If you're unsure about Daniel Jones and you're almost ready to bail after a rough starting week of training camp, go down in the comments and type N for no. Another injury report and injury update out of Giants training camp is around Saquon Barkley. Barkley obviously tore his ACL in week 2 of last year, and he's coming along nice, but it has been slow and slower than some Giants fans are ready for. He's been working on the side at Giants training camp with a trainer by himself, cutting, sprinting, catching some balls out of the backfield, and it's just unclear if he will be ready for week 1 of the NFL season. Joe Judge has shared some quotes, not just saying that he's not ready to give a statement on when Barkley will play. Zach Rosenblatt also said this about Saquon Barkley. Barkley physically looks closer to a return. Though the Giants will continue to take things slow, he was spotted at a far field on Thursday catching passes from a trainer and sprinting. He was cutting and sprinting with relative ease. My statement on Saquon Barkley, slow and steady wins the race. There's no reason to rush Saquon Barkley to get on the field. This is a guy coming off a serious ACL injury and plays a position that is reliant on making explosive jump cuts that Saquon Barkley has been known for. There is no need to rush 26. Let's all relax. When he gets out there, he'll be productive. This is a guy that coming out of Penn State is one of the best running back prospects in recent memory. I'm not going to rush Saquon Barkley out there because I want him to be healthy for the late stretch of the 2021 NFL season when the Giants are ultimately competing for a playoff spot. Joe Judge, he's gotten some criticism this week in camp after notably the Kelvin Benjamin incident. For me, I'm not putting any stock into what Kelvin Benjamin said because the Giants, they gave him a lifeline and gave him a tryout at rookie training camp. Dave Gettleman, when he was back with the Carolina Panthers, he drafted Kelvin Benjamin, so he obviously has a soft spot for him. I'm sure Joe Judge didn't have much of a say-so if he wanted Kelvin Benjamin to come over, but I'm just not going to believe in the fact that Kelvin Benjamin said Joe Judge is the guy that can't win a Super Bowl, and he just stands around and doesn't coach the offense or defense or cusses too much. I'm all in on Joe Judge, and so is this New York Giants locker room. Dexter Lawrence and a lot of other players came out in the defense of Joe Judge, and Dexter Lawrence said, I don't know anybody who doesn't like him. And that's just a fact. Joe Judge is a football guy, and he has that Giants locker room ready to bleed for him to go win New York Giants football games. One thing that I'm kind of in the air about with Joe Judge is having professional athletes run laps. On one hand, I like it because he holds players accountable, and with the Giants' past head coaches and Pat Shurmur and Ben McAdoo, it wasn't like that. players ran all over the field and ran all over the coaches and management and did what they want. But Joe Judge, he kind of reminds me of Tom Coughlin and Bill Parcells, a no-nonsense guy that's going to be, it's his way or the highway. And I think the Giants really, really needed a head coach like that. So I want to hear what you guys have to say about Joe Judge making players run laps when they mess up. Daniel Jones has had to run laps. Nick Gates, the starting center, has had to run laps. Azeez Ojulari, Lorenzo Carter. Almost every starter on the Giants has had to run laps so far. So if you think that maybe Joe Judge is a football guy and he just bleeds football and this is a big-time football guy move, go down in the comments and type F. Or if you think Joe Judge is an absolute stiff for having professional athletes run laps when they mess up or jump off sides or miss an assignment, go down in the comments and type S for stiff.